men are able to be a little more open and vulnerable when they're just with their dog instead of other people. They don't have to worry about feeling judged, feeling accepted. They know that this dog just loves them unconditionally. And it's true with other animals. I've done work with horses too, and they're very powerful. Some cats as well.
Hello, this is Voice Your Mind podcast from Listening. Welcome to our show where we talk about the unheard who have no one to share about their insecurities and past trauma, or even having difficulty opening up to people when feeling down. On this show, we will be discussing everything about mental health, depression, and suicide. We listening are just ordinary people who are or were in your similar state and are currently encouraging ourselves and learning to improve our state of mind. So here we are taking a step towards motivating you to get better with us every day of the week. So without any further delay, let's get started with the episode.
Welcome to the show, and our today's guest is Michael Overlie, and he is an Canine-Partnered Energy Coach, author, and energy healer. He's the owner of Dogs and Men LLC that helps men remember who they are so that they can live their life purposefully. And that's about it. Very shortly about him, and we are going to learn a lot more about him through him. Okay, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm extremely sorry for the technical difficulties that we had for the past 10 minutes or so. Actually, more than
That's
10 minutes,
okay.
actually. Okay. So, okay, tell me about your journey. How did everything got started for you, and uh, how did it affected, how did those things affected your whole life?
Well, ever since I was a small child, I was able to connect with animals and understand them basically better than I did people. As I got older, I forgot about some of these things and lost some of these things. And then about 5 years ago, when my older brother died, um, I went through this really heavy grieving process, and it just opened me back up again to some of these abilities and understandings. And now I help other people open themselves up as well, utilizing the 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 keys that their dogs hold to them.
Okay, so what do you mean when you say the keys that their dogs hold?
So most people out there, I believe, don't understand that they can just be truly happy, that they have to maybe have a certain status at work or a certain house or car, or depending where you're from, all these things that really are not important, but we're told that we need to have them. And the dogs help us get back into ourselves, to who we actually are without all these other things, and to know that we're okay and we can be happy no matter what we have.
Okay, so how does it actually okay? Why dog and why not any other pet animal?
Oh, yeah, I didn't say other animals couldn't do it. Absolutely. It just has, with men, there's a very deep bond with dogs. Um, and they're more popular over here where I'm at anyway. Dogs are more popular with men than other animals. So the men are able to be a little more open and vulnerable when they're just with their dog instead of other people. They don't have to worry about feeling judged, feeling accepted. They know that this dog just loves them unconditionally. And it's true with other animals. I've done work with horses too, and they're very powerful. Some cats as well.
Okay, I am a cat person actually. I have a lot of cats.
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing actually works? How can you understand yourself through a dog, or like any pet animal? How does the process work or look like?
Well, the process is going to be different for everybody. There's not a formula, right? We can't just take a test like A, B, C, D, E. It has to do with you and your connection with that animal. So let's go back to feeling unhappy or stuck or angry or whatever. If we can connect with our animal in a little different way and understand how they are living, how they move through their day, what they're trying to show us about ourselves, we can start to maybe pick up on little messages, and we can remember that we are okay, that we are worthy of love, that we are enough.
Okay. So I want to learn more about this. How can we learn from? Okay, so I have cats, so I can relate to that. So do you have experience with dealing with cats?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had a cat before too. They are fantastic. They're typically more independent and not as I guess clingy, some would say, as dogs are. But they're smart and they're brave and they're funny and there's a lot to be learned there.
Okay, so how can I understand myself through a cat? Okay, let's talk about this part. Let's.
Okay, well let's go back to let's just pick one cat. Okay, I'm not sure how many you have, but just pick one and go back to the moment you got that cat. How did that cat come into your life? What was going on for you in your life at that time when that cat showed up?
Okay, one of them. Okay, let's say there is a cat named Tiger, one cat. So okay, if I say about him, he was born in my house. I had a cat. One cat named Leo. She was a female, and she had five childs. Actually, five other cats, and then one of them stayed with us, and we actually gave away to others. So at that time, the cat came, like the tiger came into being, uh, and is still now in our home.
Okay, so what what is different about that cat than your other cats to you?
Okay, to me, uh, he stays very close to me compared to other cats. Okay, okay, so most of the cats in my house stay close to me, but he's like way too close to me.
Okay,
He physically stays close to me most of the time.
okay. Why do you think that is? Why is he more attentive to you than the other cats?
I don't know. That is the thing. I have got no clue uh, regarding
That's
this.
okay.
Okay, maybe it's because I have to think. I'm not sure actually about this. The fact is, compared to everyone else in in the home, he's uh, compared to everyone else of my family members, human family members, he okay, most cats come to me, like stay with me. That is one of the facts. However, he stays maybe because I pet him a lot. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, the fact
I
is,
think there's more.
okay, I think I let him like stay anywhere he wants, and that might be one of the factors, or it can be I let him stay on my lap for any time that he wants, or I let him sleep with me on my arm actually.
Okay. So why do you let him do that where you don't with the other cats?
Like I do it with other cats. It's just he stays with me more, comparatively. I let every cat do that. It's not like I don't let any other cat do that. I'm not discriminating in any way. It's
Okay.
just he's like more. He gives me more time compared to other cats.
Okay. So why do you think he wants to spend more time with you than the other cats?
Mm, don't know. I don't know about that
Okay. That's
yet.
okay. That's okay. Let's go back to when he was born, just as a kitten. What what was going on in your life when he came in?
It was as usual. like every other day. Okay, so if I think specifically on that time, okay, so there were a few factors at that time. Uh, let's say we had a few financial difficulties, like some major financial difficulties at that time. It was last year in maybe in May, June, July at the time. Uh,
Mhm.
Life was actually
That-
as usual. Like the fact is, everything was as usual. We were at home in lockdown because of COVID, and there wasn't anything actually new or like very different from everyday life at that time. I'd say.
Okay. Well, the financial thing can be very stressful. So, well, where
But
you,
how does this factor came in with the fact, let's say, the cat were in heat, like the mother cat was in heat and they made it and they had kids. How does that affects uh, okay, how can that say something about me?
that's just something you needed at the time. So, why did you keep Tiger? Why didn't you get rid of all the kittens?
He was not adopted at that time. That was a thing. Okay, the other cats were like adopt uh, I'll tell you how I keep our cats. I usually talk with other people or like post on different cat groups and say, hey, this cat is up for adoption, and yeah, then those who get adopted, they get adopted. Now most of the cats are neutered, so they actually all of the cats excluding one is neutered, so we are not gonna have any more kids hopefully. Uh, so that's how the other kittens were adopted got adopted, but this one didn't, and we went to another part of this country. So I'm in Bangladesh, and I went from Dhaka to Rajshahi for 5 months, and then after that, mm, it stayed for longer, and we had a connection with him
Okay.
as a thing.
Does that does that just seem coincidental to you, or do you think maybe Tiger stayed with you guys for a reason?
I think time is not the biggest factor here. So like I don't think having him for a longer period of time is the main factor here, because I have other cats who are older than him and we are still going to uh, give them for adoption if we find a good home, like a suitable home for them. But we do not plan to do this to him with in case of Tiger, because that's actually a tough question, honestly.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. These are not easy subjects just to jump into if you're not used to this way of looking at things. So I just want you to sit with this, and you can come back to this later. But there might be a very good reason, although very subtle, that Tiger stayed with you, and the reason that you guys want to keep him. So, what do you know about energy,
Energy.
like Reiki or pranic healing or healing touch for animals, any of those
I,
things?
I don't have any idea in this domain, especially in this domain of this type of energy. I know like mechanical energy, light energy, or those stuff, but not these ones.
Okay, it's all the same. It's all the same. So, our bodies are biochemical machines, right?
Yeah.
Everything runs on energy. So, when we have a feeling, we literally feel it in our body, right? Even though we think it comes from here, that's energy. So there's something special about the people we care about. We have a different energy with them than we do with a stranger that we meet on the street. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Why can't we share the same bond, this energy with animals that are close to us?
We do.
Okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. So we have this other type or level of energy that we can share with these beings that come to us. And for some reason, this cat is more bonded with you and spends more of his time with you. So there's something there, right? There's something there, but we don't question that. We think, oh, this funny cat, he hangs out with me more. And then we don't go any further than that. This is where we can start to tap into, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought of that. I wonder why this cat likes spending more time with me as opposed to the other family members. What can I learn from this cat?
Okay, actually, what can I learn from this cat?
Yeah, ask him. Say, Tiger, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to show me?
Okay, he's just gonna meow back. That's about it. He's gonna be like meow meow. That's all. That's all.
Well, that's all you get now. Maybe you'll understand something more later. So it's funny because we talk to our animals, right?
Yeah.
And we don't think we necessarily hear back from them, but they're trying to communicate with us all the time. So yeah, might be a good thing to pay attention and give him a little more time that way.
Okay.
Mm. Do you have any other favorite animals?
Favorite animals, like in terms of in my home.
No, just animals that you think are special or are really neat, like a real tiger or an elephant or a bear.
Okay, I would say my favorite animal is horse. Horse. I don't know exactly why.
Mm.
I think it's because I feel that he's like more independent, like and like fast tracks and stuff, and a fast pace and all these things. Uh, that is one of that might be the reason why I like horses. But exactly don't know why yet.
Mm. That's okay. You don't have to know, but that might be something to look into. Horses are very powerful. They're amazing healers. They have an incredible energy. They're big animals, but they're actually a prey animal, right? They don't hunt, they're actually hunted. So they have this whole other way of being, even though they're gigantic, they can be extremely gentle. They're used here very frequently as animals to help others heal.
Okay. Okay, so here's the question. So okay, there are a few set of traits that I associate with um let's say horse. It's not
Okay.
like any specific horse of uh any place. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying just the horses. I just associate a number of a list of traits to that horses, and I think that actually means uh, that actually defines horses as a trait. How does those things are related to understanding who I am?
What is it about those traits that interest you? Pick one of the traits.
Okay, one of the traits would be leading.
Leading.
Yeah,
So a horse as a leader.
yeah. It feels like
Okay.
horses like leading a group. Like that is a feeling that I get. If leading and independence, like that most like the you can say like the top two traits that I see in a horse is leading and like independence. Like yeah, that's it.
Okay. So why are leading um, or being a leader or leadership and independence important to you?
For me, because I like it. That's the thing. Like, I don't have to answer anything to someone. I do have to answer. I have to be accountable, but it's not like I have to uh, be submissive to someone. Like, hey, I have to
Okay.
follow like everything someone says. I'm open to it when I'm learning, but not when someone is ordering unjustly. So that is why
Okay.
those things are important to me.
Okay. So also respect.
Yeah, absolutely respect.
Yeah. Ah, okay. So what happens if you feel someone is being disrespectful?
When someone is being disrespectful, I first of all I try to understand if they are actually being disrespectful, or is it the context they're in, or like
Mm,
many times is not they we cannot say he's disrespectful just by the way he speaks. There is always a reason underneath, right? It may be this, it may be short term and it can be long term. This can be a trait, or like it might be a result of an event that's happening right now. Because let's say someone is, if someone is grown up in such a way that being disrespectful is valued, then that's a trait that it is like a natural for him, right? Now, if we take things in like if we see things in that manner, then yeah, although we feel angry at that time, but there's on the other end we feel pity that hey, he had to grow up in a situation that he does not understand that this is wrong. That's one side. And on the flip side, there might be an event that's occurring right now. Maybe someone very close to him just died, or he lost his job. And so in that condition, he might disrespect me on because of that, but he's not actually disrespectful. It's just because of an event, or it might be it might be for a very shorter period of time. It might be for just a day that a very bad thing happened today, and he is very sad, or very sad about it, and he's showing his disrespect or like anger just because of that specific event. So in that both cases, there isn't actually a factor or like a reason to be angry about. But yeah, that's about it, you can say.
that's fantastic. So look where we just went from leadership and independence to respect to compassion.
Okay.
So think about that. So we started talking about the horse and what the traits that you thought um, were important to you that a horse can show. And then we got to respect from there, and then we went to compassion for others who are maybe hurting.
Okay.
Can you follow that?
Yeah, I can follow that. I can actually.
Okay. So this is one of the ways when we can start to understand our own animals, let's say your cat or a horse, if we can understand them in a different way, it brings us back to a better place for ourselves. So that's interesting.
Okay, there is one thing that while you were speaking, a thing popped in my head. Okay, the thing is, I don't know if it is specifically specified towards the cat, like tiger. However, I like I like him or like the other cats more because they are in a way independent, and like they will get as much attention that they need, and if we are overdoing something, then they will just try to get away. or like just go ahead and do their own thing.
Hmm.
That is one of the traits I like a lot, because like they have like their own boundaries, and you have to understand them.
Yep, that's where I was waiting for you to get there. So they set their boundaries for themselves and they don't apologize for it, right?
Absolutely.
So that is hard for us as people. We have those we care about. We don't want to upset. We don't want to hurt them. We don't want to disappoint them. So we have a harder time setting boundaries with our own family members or our friends. So this cat is showing you that it's okay in some way for you to set your boundaries. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So is that something you feel like you could work on?
I think I can. As of now, I think I can work on.
Just in little chunks, little small things. So anytime we try to make a big change, it's much harder for us because we're so habitual in our patterns, correct? So a small change done over a small period of time gives us a good result. We say, oh, okay, I can do this. And then you can do it a little more. And then you can do it a little more. So I think you're hitting onto something here that might be important for you to work on.
Okay, I saw like two reactions from you, two types of reactions from you actually. One was when you actually went from one step to another in terms of, when I was talking about cat, about horses. You went from one place to another, and you ended there. Uh, and the second reaction was you said this might be one thing you need to work on. And why is that? Because I talked about one trait about horses as well, one trait about cats as well. Why did you react in a way that you might need to work on this in the second context, not the first one?
Because that's much closer to you. Because Tiger is right there. So the as with the horse and the compassion, you kind of naturally went there. With Tiger, there's something I really like about him, and because he's there living with you. You don't have a horse living with you, correct?
No,
You
I
have
don't.
Tiger there living with you. That's the reason. That's why it's a little different. There's something that you admire about him. So why do you admire about him? Do you admire the same trait in yourself? Are you able to set boundaries like Tiger does?
I think I think in some contexts. In some contexts I do, and in many contexts I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's about right. I mean, nothing's 100%. We don't do the same thing all the time with everybody. It's not all or none. So, but there's something there that you admire in him. And usually when we admire a trait in somebody else, we think that we don't have that ability or we're not very good at it. So that's why I said this might be something that you want to work on.
Okay, now I get it. Now I get it. Okay, that was
I
actually.
wasn't very clear before, so I apologize.
Uh,
Does that sound better?
yeah, it sounds better. The fact is, it was amazing why I said it, because I really liked how you like defined it. That how you like really define the reason for what you said. Like I really liked it because uh, there are those about horses, like those are just traits that I liked about them, and most in most cases I'm not, as they are not very close to me, I'm not sure if they I like them or not. It's just I really like about them, and in this case, yeah, that's was amazing, absolutely. Okay, that's about it. And okay, so there are a few questions I want to know about you. Okay, was there any traumatic event or uh yeah, any traumatic event that happened in your life that changed you, and you needed help from animals? You can see.
Oh, absolutely. So there was two. two big ones in my life. When I was maybe two, I think, my older brother had open heart surgery, and so that kind of threw everything into in turmoil in the home with everybody trying to take care of him, and I felt like all the attention was on him because he was sick, and I felt, I was a little guy, I didn't understand, but I felt pushed aside, and so that really made me feel insecure, and you know that was hard for me. And luckily later we got a dog who helped me feel a little more secure. He could just be there, right? He could just share that space and energy. And then when I was 11 or 12, my dad left, and somehow I figured it was my fault. And so I got really depressed and even had, suicidal ideation. And luckily, we still had this dog in my life, and he let me know that I was okay and that I was enough, and just helped me get through there. And I wasn't able to really talk to anybody. I had a hard time sharing anything, and I couldn't explain why I felt that way.
Okay. So, what are the things that you did during those times? Like in both cases, you just spend time with the dog, and what other things that you did?
Well, it got me outside more. So for me, being outside in nature, I can connect with everything out there, and it helps me take all this other stuff out of my head for a time being. So I can just be outside. I can be, with the trees or by the river or sitting in the grass with the dog and just being grounded without worrying about all the other things so much. That was really big.
Okay. Was it the same case in both situations, like in terms of the first case or the second case as well?
I think they're different because obviously I was different and in, much different ages. I wasn't able to comprehend much when I was really small. Um, I just knew I didn't feel good. And when I was older, I was able to think a lot more and maybe tell myself stories that weren't true. I didn't because I didn't know what was going on. So I think I needed different things at both times. And luckily, I had this amazing dog who was able to make me feel safe and secure.
Okay, so in terms of suicidal thoughts, okay, so especially suicidal thoughts came in your second case, most probably,
Mhm.
right? That, as you said. Okay, so what were the, you can say, like thoughts, that what were the exact thoughts, as much as you can remember, and okay, what was the time when you realized, hey, that these thoughts are no longer coming in? Like, what was there in point you realized that, hey, I'm like over all this?
Oh, that's a great question. So the exact thoughts, as well as I can remember, it was more like I- it was like I think everybody would be better off if I wasn't here. Um, yeah, it was a lot of those kinds of things. And later, I don't know that there was a specific time where it no longer showed up. I just started to feel better over time, and with the continued attention and love of this dog, I didn't feel that way anymore.
Okay, and why did you actually started specifically to do working in this domain? What those did those events only affected, were those events, or like the process, was that the only motivation to start working in this domain, or was there any other reason?
No, no, it was even more powerful for me after my brother died, and I witnessed what my dog did, not just for me, but for other people who were also very sad and hurting, and even people with physical pain. Um, I realized how amazing and powerful these animals are if we're willing to open up to that. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go help other people with this. I want others to be able to help themselves too.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's actually about it. So we have actually run out of time today, uh,
Okay.
and especially for the delay of in at the very beginning. Okay, that's about it. So before we end today, okay, so is there anything you'd like to share?
I do, real quick. I wrote a book about some of this. It's called Let Your Dog Lead.
Okay, so the and what is the online course about?
So well, there's going to be another course coming out that's going to follow the book. I'm working on that right now. The first course it's much more in depth. It's over 2 months, and it requires quite a bit of fortitude to get through because it helps you dig underneath all these things that you didn't want to know about yourself or didn't want to remember.
Okay, got it. So the link of those will be in the description of the podcast, so you can find it. And before we end it, like I have one last question. So what
Yes.
would be your top two questions, like two suggestions, in terms of with people for people that have depression or like are suffering from any mental health issues right now?
Oh, the first one is you're not alone. You are definitely not alone. There's other people who are hurting too, but you have to ask for help. Nobody does everything by themselves. And if they tell you that they did, then they're probably not being truthful. So it's okay. It's okay to ask for help. It's also okay to not be okay, right? Everybody's a little different, and we all need help sometimes.
Okay, what's the second thing?
The second thing is give yourself a little break. Just understanding that there's a problem can be hard enough, and admitting to yourself that you might need help. So give yourself a break and stop beating yourself up because you don't feel good.
Okay, great. So that was about it for today, and thank you for your time and all the suggestions. Again, how our today's guest was Michael Overlie. He is a Canine-Partnered Energy Coach, author, and energy healer. He's the owner of Dog and Man LLC, and which helps men remember who they are so they can live their purpose. That was about it for today. Your host was Mahmoud. By saying that, we are signing off. Bye.
Bye.
And that's the end of today's episode. I know taking action is quite a hard job to do, so I hope the advice and insights we got today will help you to take the leap of faith and pursue your dreams. You can share your story with us through the first link in the description box, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on the Apple Podcast. We will come back with another episode. Till then, keep healing, learning, and growing. Thank you.